Hello, thank you for joining us today. I'm Nisha, one of the housing advocates.
And I'm Ani, the other housing advocate. Today's video is going to be about being an energy consumer and prepping for winter.
And today we have Carmen and Hannah joining us, and you ladies take it away.
Hi, I'm Carmen. I'm the Outreach Director for the Citizens Utility Board.
And I'm Hannah Hoger. I am the Outreach and Communications Manager.
Great. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. We're excited to share a bunch of good practical tips to try to keep your winter energy bills manageable and to be a savvy energy consumer. So we can go on to the next slide, please. Okay, so first of all, we wanted to just introduce our organization. The Citizens Utility Board is a nonprofit independent consumer advocate. So our role is to help make sure Minnesota households can make good decisions about their energy usage. So we do policy work at the state level where we're involved at the state legislature and also get involved with like rate cases. So for example, if Excel or Centerpoint wants to raise your rates, we may be involved in trying to advocate on the consumer's behalf to make sure things are done in a way that are in the best interest of the consumers. And then Hannah and I provide outreach services. So we provide educational talks like we're doing today. And we also give free energy bill consultations to anyone in Minnesota. So we can go over specific questions you have about your bills and give you customized suggestions to try to bring your costs down and take advantage of programs and rebates. We'll go on to the next slide, please. Okay, so today we're going to cover a variety of topics. We want to talk about your energy rights as a consumer. We want to cover resources to help pay bills, so different things that you can take advantage of to keep your bills manageable, and a variety of tips to help you save energy and money, and the next steps that you can take. We'll go on to the next slide, please. Okay, so first off, we want to make sure we touch on some of the changes with energy as it relates to COVID. So really important to know right now, if you're a Centerpoint or Excel customer at this time, during the governor's peacetime emergency, and these companies will not be shutting people off. All disconnections are suspended. And if people were previously disconnected, they are to be reconnected. There will be no late fees. And utilities are encouraging the consumers to set up reasonable payment plans with them so that your bills don't get too out of hand. The other thing that's important to note, while the governor's peacetime emergency is in place, there's no shutoffs, and after it expires, there will be 60 days notice before those utilities will start resuming disconnections. So hopefully that's a bit of comfort if you're struggling to pay your bills, but we're going to give you some ideas of assistance so that those bills don't get out of control. And because at some point you're still going to have to pay them even if you're struggling right now. So we'll go on to the next slide, please. Okay, so we want to be focusing today on our talk like what can you control? Like that's what you should be focusing on. So as a renter, it's important to understand that your housing costs include rent plus utilities. So you want to have a good sense of what your utilities are going to be that you don't have a surprise. So at whatever point you might be looking for a new place, make sure you're asking about the average energy cost so you know what you're getting into. Know what rights and responsibilities you have per your lease when it comes to energy costs. So for example, are you responsible for heat? Are you responsible for electricity? What other utilities, maybe water, sewer, garbage that you may be required to pay? If you happen to be renting a house, for example, do you have to replace the furnace filters every day, or is that something that the landlord would do? And if you have a good relationship with your landlord, encouraging him or her to participate in energy efficiency programs is also a great way for both the landlord to be saving money and for you as the tenant to be saving money. Also important to note is that starting in 2021 in Minneapolis, landlords must disclose how much energy bills are to their prospective tenants. So you will have the right to know what those bills will look like before you sign a lease. Go on to the next slide, please. Okay, and just a bit of information about your rights as a renter. So there is a state statute that requires that landlords make their properties reasonably energy efficient, by implementing certain measures. So you do have a right to have an efficient, reasonably efficient home to live in. And if you have any questions or concerns about that, we've identified 2 different organizations that can be very helpful in giving you some advice. So the Community Stabilization based in St. Paul provides education and advice for renters, and their numbers listed. And then Homeline provides free legal advice to renters, and their number is listed too. And Homeline provides information not just on energy efficiency topics, but on a wide variety of topics for renters. We'll go on to the next slide, please. Okay, another important thing for you to be aware of is the cold weather rule. So there happens to be this myth in Minnesota that some people think that your heat can't get turned off. Unfortunately, it can. It's just that it wouldn't be a surprise to you. The utilities are required to follow a number of steps before they would shut somebody off. But it's important for you as a consumer to know what your responsibilities are. So between the months of October 15th and April 15th, you can request protection under the cold weather rule to prevent getting shut off. But you must arrange a payment plan with that utility and stick with it. And it's very important that you arrange a plan that's reasonable, that you can stick with, because if you do not stick with it, you can get shut off. If you're having trouble negotiating what would be a reasonable payment plan, we encourage you to reach out to the Public Utilities Consumer Affairs Office. They can answer any questions about your rights under the cold weather rule, and they can also intervene and help you negotiate a reasonable payment plan with your utility, and their number is listed as well. Go on to the next slide, please. Okay, and we also want to make sure that you're aware of there is assistance for people who are struggling to pay their energy bills. There is a federal program called Energy Assistance, and eligibility is based on household size and your income. And so this chart shows the most recent guidelines based on household size and income. This program provides grants that will go directly to your utility company to help cover your bills. If you are in fear of being shut off and you've received a shut-off notice, there's also crisis funding available that can provide additional money to help you get caught up on your bills. It's important to understand this program is available to both renters and homeowners, and it can be used for utility bills, including electric and natural gas if you happen to live in a rural area, also for delivered fuels like propane or heating oil. This program also can provide help with emergency heating repairs as well. And so we've provided contact information for residents of Hennepin, Ramsey, and Washington counties. If you happen to live in another county, there's a 1-800 number you can call to find out who the provider is, who accepts the applications. And applications are done annually. So if you've applied in the past, you still need to apply each year that you're eligible. And applications can be submitted starting in the fall through May 31st. Also important to note that it's a first come, first served basis. So funding is limited, and we encourage you to get your application as early and into the year as possible. We'll go on to the next slide, please. Okay. A couple other important notes about help with bills. So if you are eligible for energy assistance, it actually opens the door for additional money saving programs. So there is a program called Power On, or the Gas Affordability Program. There's actually a line item in your energy bill that helps fund this. And it will help reduce your energy expenses based on your income. So this is a really helpful program. There's also a part of that program that if you've fallen behind on your bills, that they will forgive part of your bills by sticking again to a payment plan. So it's really a helpful program for people. So if you're eligible for energy assistance, we strongly encourage you to reach out to an organization called Energy Sense. Their contact information is listed, and ask for enrollment information on their Power On and gas affordability programs. Additionally, with COVID, we know a lot of families are struggling even more than they may have before to keep up with bills. So we wanted to make you aware of additional sources of funding to help with utility bills. So there is a special COVID housing assistance fund that's available right now. And to access that, you should call 211 and they will connect you to your local agency that's administering it. That can be used for a variety of housing expenses, such as rent, but also utilities. So that's a really good additional source of funding for you to consider. Also looking into your county financial assistance programs. The Salvation Army has programs to help with utility bills. Local social service agencies, so these might be organizations that run food shelves or food banks. Sometimes local houses of worship will have an emergency fund for community members. And if you happen to be a student, reaching out to your student services office to find out if they have assistance is also a great idea. We'll go on to the next slide, please. Okay, and I believe this is my last slide before I turn it over to Hannah. The other thing we want to keep in mind is the cheapest, cleanest energy that is available is the energy we don't use in the first place. So looking for opportunities to be more energy efficient and reduce our usage is a great way to save money. So if you're eligible for energy assistance, there's a variety of programs available to help make your home more efficient. You can be eligible for a free energy audit, and there's also free weatherization. And weatherization means things that are done physically to the property to make it use less energy. So things like putting plastic on your windows, wrapping an old water heater to keep that heat in better, and even things like more efficient appliances and doing things like adding more insulation and things to a unit. So there are a variety of programs available if you're eligible for energy assistance. So we've provided some contact information to learn more about that based on where you live. Very important if you're renting to get landlord permission before you go forward with these things. But these are eligible for renters with landlord permission. And additionally, anybody, regardless of income or whether or not you're eligible for energy assistance, utilities such as CenterPoint have a variety of free do-it-yourself items that you can request and have sent to you. And there's also a variety of rebated items or discounted items that you can purchase as a customer as well. We'll go on to the next slide. And I'll turn it over to Hannah.
All right, thank you so much, Carmen. All right, so we're gonna just really quickly break down how your home uses energy. So as you see on the graph right here, the majority of it is going to be heating and cooling, over 50%. And so one of our top recommendations then is that just adjusting your thermostat is one of the biggest ways you can reduce your energy use. And then next we have water heating. That might not be something you think about as much, but whenever we're using hot water for dishes or for laundry, over a lot of that energy goes into just heating up the water. So minimizing how much you use hot water can save you energy as well as reduce your water bill as well. And then next after that is going to be appliances, lighting, and then electronics. And the big thing for electronics is that although the electronics have become more energy efficient over the years, if you have a lot of them plugged in, it can add up, especially if you find yourselves right now home more often. All right, next slide, please. All right, so when we're prepping for winter, one of the biggest things you could consider is a home energy squad audit. It's for single family homes or multi-family family homes with 5 or less units. And right now they're offering free virtual units. Those are just done over web right now. And then that also, you would still be eligible for in-person visits when they ever starting to do that again. And then there's also discounted in-person audits for Minneapolis and St. Paul residents, as well as free in-person audits for income qualified households as well. And what's great about Home Energy Squad visits is that it includes a lot of free installations. They change all your light bulbs to LEDs. They will identify areas where you could benefit more insulation, and they'll really tell you a little bit more about your home so that you know how to prepare for the winter. And if you are a renter, asking for landlord permission as well, because you would still qualify for that. And then, yeah, like I said, they will let you know if you have leaks anywhere, and you can seal those up, and then add insulation, and then also let you know about what rebates you could potentially benefit from. Next slide, please. And then other things for multifamily buildings, for landlords of 5 units or more buildings, you can participate in a free whole building audit provided by Excel or Centerpoint. So if you think maybe this is something that you could approach a landlord with, we certainly recommend it, because it's good for you as well as the landlord. So both parties benefit from having an energy audit done. And like Carmen mentioned before, a lot of utilities have free energy efficiency items available. One of them being Centerpoint, where you can request to have free weather stripping, plastic for your windows, rope caulk, some insulation for your pipes. Those you can all order online, and they're all for free. And then if you want just a really easy way to have a draft blockers for doors, or sometimes even windows, if you have an old towel, just rolling that up and placing it near your window can help insulate it a little bit more. And then whether you're a renter or homeowner, understanding when to replace your filters, as well as having a furnace or boiler tune-up. These are good ways. It's a safety check, as well as just make sure your mechanical systems is running as efficiently as possible. And Centerpoint, for instance, has a rebate for that as well. Next slide, please. All right, and then I love talking about your energy efficiency, because I can save money. So here are some really easy ways that you can reduce your energy use this winter. We had talked about, heating and cooling makes up over 50% of your home's energy use. So adjusting that thermostat is one of the biggest ways we can reduce our energy use. So the Department of Energy recommends it setting at 68 degrees when you're home, and then differentiating that between up to 10 degrees when you're asleep or when you're away, and then never lower than 55 degrees so that your pipes don't freeze. 68 degrees might not be comfortable for everyone, and we totally understand that. That's why it's really important to balance your comforts and needs, and weigh that to energy, how much energy savings you want to receive out of it. So you usually save up to 3% for each degree you adjust. So the more degrees you adjust, the more energy savings you can receive. So for people who aren't quite sure if they'll be able to do this, we usually say try like 1 degree at a time and see how you feel. And then if 68 feels okay, try 67, and then maybe going a little lower after that. And then if you have a programmable thermostat, making use of that can really help manage your temperature when you're waking up, when you're going to bed. It's a little harder right now since most of us are stuck at home. So we can't benefit from you having those savings when we're away to work or something. But something that I do is just making sure it's still adjusted, but I wear more layers and have a blanket over me. That way I'm still comfortable, but feel like I'm still dropping that thermostat when I'm home. And then as much as possible, just trying to avoid or minimize space heater usage. When we look at households' electric bills in the winter and we see a higher spike than normal, we usually ask them if they're using a space heater, because those are huge energy suckers, and you can really tell that when you're looking at a bill. So we're trying to minimize space heater usage to just on a timer, or potentially just heating it in a small room or space and not trying to heat up your whole living room, for instance. Next slide, please. And then some other really easy tips and tricks, turning off and unplugging electronics as much as possible. So this can be This can be plugging, especially if you have an entertainment system or like a gaming console, plugging those all into a power strip and then remembering to flip that power strip off at the end of the day can save you unnecessary vampire usage. And then for appliances, one of the biggest things is if you have a coffee machine, instead of and just unplugging that as soon as you're done using it as well, because even though it's plugged in, it can still be drawing a little bit of power. And if you're not already doing so, using LED light bulbs. LEDs are 80 to 90% more efficient than incandescents. I remember when I was a renter, one of the first things I did when I moved in was to go around and check if I had any incandescents, and if I did, I would purchase my own LEDs and screw it in. And then when I moved, I took the LEDs with me and screw back the old bulbs in so that I could benefit from using those LEDs for my next place. And then if you have a dishwasher running full loads, as well as if you have a heat drying setting on there, just turning that off and letting your dishes just air dry can help save some energy that way as well. And then running full loads of laundry. Right now, if you are washing with hot water, consider washing with warm or cold water instead, just to reduce some of that energy use, because a lot of the energy that goes into washing machine is just trying to heat up that water, like we said, for water heating. Next slide, please. And then something Carmen had mentioned is that Cub offers free energy bill consultations. So these usually take about 30 minutes, and you provide us a copy of your utility bills, and we look at it together and we find ways to where areas we can maybe try to reduce your energy use and save you more money. And we also discuss other energy related issues that you have concerns with. We've talked to households about water heaters. We've talked about like if they're interested in solar. So it's just a range of energy related issues that we can talk to you about. And then average households can save around $150 in our first meeting together. So for 30 minutes, we consider that a pretty good way to spend your time. And we can do this over the phone or via video conferencing. And then we have open slots usually each month. So if you're interested in that or have more questions, please visit our website or give us a call as well. Next slide, please. Okay, and that is it for me. Thank you so much for joining us today. Like I said, if you have any questions at all about this presentation, how to get resources, to get assistance, give us a call or email us. And then we're always posting tips and energy savings on our Facebook and Twitter handles. So thank you so much again for inviting us here today. And then last but not least, don't forget to take the quiz to earn credits towards your credentials. Thank you so much.